esteemed president, Ms. Linda Mason.
Good afternoon, everyone. Nice to see everyone. It's a wonderful turnout, and it's very, very nice to have this many people here. And all right. On behalf of the Montachusett MLK Coalition, we welcome you to our 26th annual Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King celebration. A collective thank you to all who made this program possible. There are many to thank, and they will be individually recognized throughout the program. But I would like to begin by expressing appreciation for our newest partnership with the City of Fitchburg Civic Days, who have generously helped us in preparation for our 26th annual celebration. Thank you, Mayor Sam, for the official designation as Civic Days event, as a Civic Days event. This year, the federal MLK holiday and our event coincide with the presidential inauguration. As our nation's leadership changes, it is more important than ever to celebrate MLK, who was a leader for all time. His vision, philosophy of nonviolence, and leadership of love left an indelible footprint for all time. Today, through music and other mediums, let us honor his message by remembering, let us honor his memory by remembering his message. Okay, our MC today is the Reverend Annie Belmer. Reverend Annie is an ordained minister of nearly 20 years. She is the pastor and founder of Galilee Spiritual Life Center, located at First Parish Church, UU, Fitchburg, Mass. Galilee Spiritual Life is now a replication site for Can We Talk, a spiritually inspired, community-based, clinically supported, safe space for community conversations, sharing trauma and healing. Reverend Annie and her husband Fred have been residents since December 2022. Reverend Annie volunteers with community organizations and serves on several boards, including the Fitchburg Council on Aging and North Central Mass Faith-Based Community Coalition. She volunteers with the Montachusett Martin Luther King Coalition, the Community Foundation of North Central Massachusetts, Women's Fund, and the DEI Committee of the Massachusetts Board of Realtors. Reverend Annie earned the designation of Resident Leader from the Resident Leadership Institute Certificate Program from Fitchburg State University soon after her Fitchburg residency. Reverend Annie has an extensive background in outreach and community engagement and human services. She is a pastor, preacher, Bible studies teacher, spiritual life coach, recovery coach, motivational speaker, published author, radio host, program facilitator, and a licensed Massachusetts real estate agent. This is Reverend Annie's third MMLKC, Montachusett Martin Luther King Coalition program as MC. Reverend Annie is available for speaking engagements. Please welcome Reverend Annie Belmer.
Amen, amen. Now, if that was somebody else and then they introduced them, I would say, can we give them a hand clap and a praise? So can we? Amen. That's what I would say. I don't know. But I guess you know it's me by now. Well, thank you again. And we want to thank you for being here. So at this time, I am going to introduce our Mayor, Sam Squallier, who is going to give us her blessings for this morning. Samantha Sam Squallier is currently serving her first term as the 46th mayor and the third female mayor of the city of Fitchburg. She is a lifelong resident of Fitchburg, former student of Fitchburg Public Schools. Woo, woo, yes, for the third female mayor of the city of Fitchburg. Mayor Squalia completed her associate's and bachelor's degree in architectural building engineering from New England Institute of Technology and is a leadership in energy and environmental design accredited personnel in building design and construction, with 25 years of experience in agricultural building engineering and project management. She has obtained her master's certificate in sustainable building design from Boston Architectural College, as well as regulatory affairs and cannabis control from Clark University, and a resident leadership institute certificate from Fitchburg State University. We were in the same class. I didn't want to tell nobody that. Mayor Squalia has additionally served in a volunteer capacity on numerous boards throughout the city and state, including, but not limited to, the Friends of Fitchburg, Abolitionist Park, Fitchburg Pride, Keep Fitchburg Beautiful, Keep Massachusetts Beautiful, the MassDOT Massachusetts Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Board, the Board of Directors of the Massachusetts Municipal Association, Fitchburg Greenway Community, the Stratton Players, Fitchburg Cultural Alliance, Friends of Fitchburg's Dogs, Voters Dogs, yes, woo! Voters Choice MA Massachusetts State Advisory Board, Fitchburg Farmers Market, and Longs Joe Middle School Parent Teachers Organization, among other endeavors. Please welcome the Mayor of Fitchburg, Samantha Sam Squalia.
Thank you.
Remember what I said, that if that was me, what I would do? All right, let's hear it for our mayor. All right, woo!
Thank you, Pastor Annie. That person sounds very busy. It's my honor to welcome you all here today to the 26th Annual Martin Luther King Jr. Coalition event. Today, we take this opportunity to come together to celebrate the life and legacy of Dr. King and reflect on how his enduring vision continues to inspire our work, our community, and our shared future here in Fitchburg. Dr. King said, "We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly." This idea that our success and well-being are interconnected is central to the work that we do here in Fitchburg. Fitchburg was historically a bustling mill city, thriving with industry, innovation, and opportunity. And while industries have faded through the years, the resilience and spirit of this city has never waned. Today, we stand at a great moment in our city history, a moment where we see so many people working together, so many people investing their time, energy, and resources, reigniting the promise of Fitchburg as a city of opportunity, creativity, and inclusion. Dr. King spoke often of the fierce urgency of now, and we feel that urgency as we work endlessly to reimagine Fitchburg for the 21st century. From the placemaking initiatives to create vibrant spaces where people want to be together, like the new Fitchburg Arts Community Artist Housing opening this month. We are working for a future where community, culture, and innovation thrive. Because we know that a strong community begins with safe, accessible, and affordable housing. And through the renovation of long vacant downtown buildings, We are transforming spaces near public transit, shops, and restaurants into homes that bring people closer to the heart of Fitchburg. Dr. King believed in the power of community and economic justice, and we are committed to building a city where everyone can find opportunity. Exemplifying this is the Fitchburg Public Market, now open on Main Street. Dr. King taught us to embrace the richness of our differences, and this new hub for culinary richness showcases the flavors and cultures that make Fitchburg unique. Dominican, South American, American, Mexican, halal, and so much more. And education was at the heart of Dr. King's vision for an equality for all. And we are investing in the future of our children's education with so many school infrastructure projects, Superintendent Thompson well knows, including the $77 million Crocker Elementary School and our Crocker Field projects, and our $40 million investment into Fitchburg Public Library project builds on that commitment to learning and growth, with a makerspace, a small business center, and expanded programming for all ages. This library will serve as a beacon of education and innovation, a true third space where everyone in Fitchburg can learn, create, and connect. And we are also proud to celebrate the appointment of Dr. Donna Hodge as the 12th president of Fitchburg State University. And woo! And the first woman to hold this prestigious position. For the first time in our city's history, our town and gown relationship is woman-led. A movement that reflects the progress that we have made and the potential we have yet to unlock. Dr. King spoke of breaking barriers, and this milestone shows us that we are continuing to break barriers. As we honor Dr. King today, we commit our values to his values: equality, justice, and the power of community. Fitchburg's transformation is a collective effort, and every one of you plays a part, whether through supporting our downtown revitalization, volunteering in our community efforts, or simply lending a helping hand to your neighbor. You are helping to create the Fitchburg that Dr. King dreamed about in our society, a city that embodies his vision of a just and inclusive society. So let us be inspired by today's events and leave inspired by Dr. King's legacy and determined to carry his dream forward in all that we do. Let's build a future rooted in hope, opportunity, and unity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Squalier. Thank you so much for that. I just wanted to introduce someone before we continue on, because he's been up here and I'm going to introduce them both because they've been here and they've been playing and they're going to play and continue throughout the program. So I wanted to introduce Theo, and I've been practicing the name, so I hope I got it right. Demosthenes. Demosthenes. All right. Theo has been playing piano for almost 20 years, but he has been around music his whole life. He is a musician, a singer on both sides of the family. He blends jazz, gospel, Latin, and funk. We're going to have a good time today. He has 2 singles out on all platforms, Lift Every Voice and Angels We Have Heard on High. When not composing and performing music, he's playing at his father's churches, Elam Fellowship Church and Moriah Evangelical Church. I don't have his brother's bio, but I just want you to know family sticks together. So with Theo, is our drummer, and his name is David. So David is also plays with his father's church. Secondly, I would like to introduce Dr. Babatunde, if you would stand, please. Dr. Babatunde Thomas is a family practice physician in Leominster, Massachusetts. He is affiliated with multiple hospitals in the area. He received his medical degree from Tufts University School of Medicine and has been in practice for more than 20 years. Oh, you don't look like you're 20 years old. Yeah. And when he's not busy seeing patients, Dr. Thomas enjoys spending time with his wife and 3 sons. He also likes freshwater fishing, playing the saxophone. Originally classically trained on the saxophone, he also enjoys writing music and songwriting on the piano. And I wanted to introduce them because they are up here, and I want you to know who you're listening to, because this fine music is just music for our souls today. So we just want to say thank you, and thank you very much. Next on our program is, I believe it is Dr. Babatunde. No, it's not. It's welcome from our Father Dario Acevedo of St. Joseph's Church in Pittsburgh. He's going to deliver our prayer and invocation.
Well, there is a lot of good things happening in Fitchburg. I see a lot of progress, the good work of the major and her team. That's really good. So this year, the official website for the King Center, established in 1968 by Mrs. Coretta Scott King, has posted the strategic theme for this year: Mission Possible, protecting freedom, justice, and democracy in the spirit of nonviolence. This theme, as is described on the website, defines the 2025 King Holiday Observance events, and it guides us all. Now, the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. This is one of the most cited quotations by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It is inscribed on his memorial in Washington, D.C. It's also inscribed at Boston University legacy plaques. This famous quotation is part of a collection of Dr. King's sermons published in 1963 in a book titled A Strength to Love. Well, we are called to work together on the virtues we need to be able to experience the transformative power of love and stand strong at times of challenge and controversy for our brothers and sisters, and protect freedom, justice, and democracy for all without any use of violence. Let me finish with a prayer, and then I invite you, please rise. Let's rise as we pray. And I'm going to use a prayer written by Dr. King. Most gracious and all-wise God, before whose face the generations rise and fall, thou in whom we live and move and have our being, we thank thee for all thy good and gracious gifts, for life and for health, for food and clothing, for the beauties of nature and the love of human nature. We come before thee painfully aware of our shortcomings. We realize that we stand surrounded with the mountains of love, and we deliberately dwell in the valley of hate. We stand amid the forces of truth and deliberately lie. We are forever offered the high road, and yet we choose to travel the low road. For these sins, O God, forgive. Break the spell on that which blinds our minds. Purify our hearts that we may see Thee. Help us to work with renewed vigor for a warless world, for a better distribution of wealth, and for a brotherhood that transcends race or color. In the name and the Spirit of Jesus, we pray. Amen. Thank you.
Amen. Felt the spirit of Dr. King in the room. Amen. Hallelujah. At this time, I'd like to introduce Ayana and Francesca. Where are you? Ayana Lewis is a junior at Pittsburgh High School, serving as the president of both the Curly Hair Care Club and the Black Student Union. I'll be right over for the Curly Hair Club. There, Ayana's leadership reflects a dedication to celebrating diversity and empowering others. A deeply passionate activist, Ayana is committed to creating positive change, not only within the school, but also in the broader community. Ayana effects there have had, it's been recognized with prestigious up-and-coming leader and the community award. Thank you so much. Her advocacy and focus on inclusivity strive to inspire and uplift those around her. Francesca DeLise is an accomplished high schooler at Pittsburgh High School and a proud member of the Black Student Union. As a student recognized for her academic excellence and known for her incredible talent, Francesca will be showcasing her singing abilities, adding her voice to inspire and uplift the community. Her dedication to both academics and the arts reflect her commitment to excellence in this expression that they are going to bring to us right now. Get out your way. That's right, give it up for our young people.
have been watered. We have come, tread our path through the blood of the from the gloomy past till when I'll stand at last. Find the white gleam of our red starry cast. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who has brought us far on the way, thou who has by thy might led us into the light, kept us forever in the path we pray. Lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met thee. Lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee. Shadowed beneath thy hand, may we forever stand true to our God, true to our native land. True to our God, true to our native land.
Thank you so much. Lift Every Voice and Sing is on the back of our program. And, we were having our meeting, and I'm like, well, maybe Lift Every Voice and Sing is something that maybe we can have it taught in our schools so that we can all know the song. And all of us that do know it, we'll be singing it with our children and our children's children so that it may go on and on and on. Because this song was written by James Walden Johnson. And in it, it says, justice everywhere. Anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. From the letter written in the Birmingham jail, April 1963, by the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. As we continue on, Ayana, where did she go? Ayana is going to read a poem for us. And after Ayana reads her poem, then we will have, I was getting ready to call you Dr. Theo, so I'm prophesying. There you go. Theo's going to come up and read the bios of the students that are going to perform today.
The poem that I have to read today is called A Fine Line. Not all gifts are given with good intentions, and yet we learn from everything. Love and hate, loyalty and rage. We as people are always changing. From that growth, we look back to see what we've done, what we have built, what we cannot repeat, lest we forget the lessons in which they have taught us. Black people are filled to the brim with potential, with opportunity, with fortune baked within their skin and minds. This is not by any accident. This is not any luck of the draw. This is because we've endured. We stand strong. We withstand the violence, the hate, the laws that pressure us to stay far from each other. We never let the malice of others to poison the fabric of our souls. With passion is pain. With life is death. In both there is a truth. It will never end, and it will never not hurt. but it will never end us. We will never let these things destroy us, because defeat is not an option. Defeat will never be an option. The only option we have is to continue forward, to see that passion, that love, that true honesty with ourselves can continue, because that is the only way that we will ever make it forward, that we will ever truly create future.
A fine line. Thank you, Ayanna. Thank you so much. Because there is a fine line between justice and hate and love. So we want to say thank you for that.
Good morning, everybody. And let me just take this off real quick so you guys can see that I have a face. So, happy Martin Luther King Day. I'm going to be performing a piece. So it's not really me who's performing the piece. It's going to be Dr. Babatunde Thomas, who Reverend Annie so graciously and wonderfully introduced. We're going to be performing a piece by Sam Cooke. I'm sure you guys know it. A change is going to come.
Dale said he's sure that most of us know it, but maybe most of us don't. A Change Is Gonna Come by Sam Cooke. The lyric was, I'm not gonna tell my age, but it was back then. Okay? And I remember growing up, my mother always playing that song. And as they started, I just looked it up. So yeah, you all see me back there. What's she doing back there? I was looking up the lyrics to the song. It says, I was born by the river in a little tent. And it hurt my heart because right now, there are those living by the river in a little tent, living under the bridges in a little tent, waiting for their change to come. So Mayor Squalia, we say thank you because we know that the change is coming, that these people that are unhoused will be able to have housing and live long lives. So it says, brother, help me please. So let's help our brothers and sisters. As the struggle for this song, it prevails hope for citizens in the United States of America that are under oppressive laws, those that are under segregation, those that are without housing, those that are without clothing, those that are without food, those that are without the love of their brothers and their sisters. So yes, a change is coming. A change is here today. So let's continue that legacy of Dr. King. Amen. A spoken word performance by Nasir Thomas. He's an individual whose work speaks for itself, wholeheartedly, creativity, community, and change. So he's going to speak this change into existence. How are you? Good to see you.
Hello, hello. That was amazing. Can we get another round of applause for the music we just heard? Because that was just amazing. That blew me away. I feel blessed that that happened in the order that it did. It's going to be hard to one up, but I think that what I have to share complements it very well, especially with the speech that we just heard. So I have to share a piece that I wrote yesterday called The Paradox of Timing. They'll tell you to wait. We might tell ourselves to wait, to hold off until the winds are calm, until the stars align in perfect formation. They'll tell you there's a reason, a season for everything, a moment when the universe conspires to make all things fall gently into place. And you wait, because that's what you've been taught. That readiness is something you arrive at. That certainty is the foundation of action. But certainty is a ghost, always just ahead, just out of reach. You think you see it, feel it coming closer, but the more you grasp, the further it recedes. The truth is, it's never the right time. Not for courage, not for change, not for the leap into the unknown. There will always be another reason to wait, to hesitate, and to convince yourself that tomorrow will feel more solid under your feet. The other truth, the one they rarely tell you, is that it is always the right time. The moment you decide to move, to speak, to act, to choose to no longer be governed by fear, that is the moment the right time begins. Not because the conditions are perfect, but because you are willing to meet them as they are. The clock does not stop for readiness. The stars don't pause their slow drift across the sky. What matters is not their alignment, but your decision to move beneath them. What matters is the breath you take right now, the step you choose to make, despite the questions, the doubts, and the 100 reasons you've given yourself to wait. It's not about being ready. It's about being here and realizing that this messy, imperfect moment is all you will ever have. And the paradox is clear. It may never feel like the right time, but the time is always right. Thank you.
at this time, we're going to have remarks from our city officials, state officials that are in the House.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for having us. Neither of us were planning to speak today, but certainly can't help but be moved by beautiful performances and by spoken words and just incredible lyric and spoken moments by Nazi and Ayana become fixtures and become that source of inspiration that lasts the year round. So thank you to all of them and everybody who's come before us in speaking today. It really lifts you up and makes you reflect on the important moment that is today. I am so thrilled to be joined today by Representative Natalie Higgins of the great city of Leominster. Thank you for always being willing to come to Fitchburg. And I am Michael Kushmarek, State Representative for the city of Fitchburg. And often as we're doing, we appear as a united front because while our cities may have a friendly rivalry on the field, we realize that everything must be done together and that we have to work together to lift everyone. And so I'm so thankful for her work and her partnership in the state legislature. Someone who really is just a champion in helping to lift up so many in our region and give a voice to those who are often marginalized and left without a voice. And so, again, want to thank everybody for being here today to celebrate just the incredible legacy of Martin Luther King Jr. And to recommit ourselves to the work ahead. And yeah, as you have moments where you might feel like there's a heaviness to this moment and that there is, for so many in our society, who might feel hopeless or feeling like tomorrow will not be better than it was yesterday, or that their children or they will not have a better life than those living before them. What an inspiring moment to look back to the life and legacy of Martin Luther King Jr. and to think somebody who lived through what could have been such a hopeless moment instead had the audacity to dream and the audacity to hope and the audacity to fight, not just for his generation, but for an entire generation and generations to come, to be hopeful and to dream big and to embrace the moment and meet the moment where it is. And so I'm just honored to be here celebrating with each of you. And with that, I'll introduce State Representative Natalie Higgins of Leominster.
I'm just really grateful to be here with all of you today and have never been happier to see a more full room and to step out after this event with all of you to continue to honor Dr. King's life and his legacy and everything that we're doing to strengthen these Twin Cities. So thank you.
Hello, my name is Emily McCrae. I know many of you are out here, know my name. I'm the Executive Director of the North Central Massachusetts Faith-Based Community Coalition. I've been the director for, I think, well over 12 years now. What we do at this particular juncture is feed homeless people and other people who are suffering from food insecurity. It is difficult sometimes to watch the lives unroll for these people. Some have been coming to us for 10 years or more. The good thing is that the number has dwindled somewhat because we have shelters for some people. It's also wonderful that there are other organizations that have decided to take a few days that they can spare to feed the homeless. However, it is hard to see the ones that don't get what they need, because we serve them at the bottom level. If you don't have food, you can't exist. If you don't have food, there's no chance of you, or if you don't have enough food, there's no chance of you finding a home. And I've seen in the past few years people that come in that are pregnant. You see people that come in that are fighting their way through difficulties with their domestic problems. Why is this important to think about on this particular day? I'm just get filled up because I see the faces of the people that I serve. They come in at the bottom of their existence. They come to us and they tell us, if it weren't for you and the churches, we would starve to death. That's a heavy burden to carry day to day. But we are really fortunate to live in this city where you have Hannaford's that gives us free meats and vegetables to feed the people. When you have churches that are willing to have the people in their churches volunteer to make soup and sandwiches for the people. We have an all-volunteer agency, but we still have to pay for some items. You'll see my pictures that I've made. I'm an artist. You see my pictures that I've made over to the side. Every penny that you spend on any of the pictures goes directly to this program. I am telling you about our program because Martin Luther King said this: "Why should there be hunger and deprivation in any land, in any city, at any table, when man has the resources and the scientific knowledge how to provide all mankind with the basic necessities of life? There's no deficit in human resources." You see, the food in restaurants and food in food in supermarkets being thrown away. You see the food that you throw away in your own from your own table, from your own refrigerator. There's no deficit in these resources. I know because I see all the food that Hannaford's give us, and they tell us if they don't have, they tell us that if they didn't have us to give the food to, they would be throwing it away. They said, Martin Luther King concluded this word with, "The deficit is human will." And I've seen many people that have the will to give their time and their money to this effort. And it's really important that Fitchburg continues to do that, because this is the most important need that people have. It's food. Thank you.
I don't do selfies, but I do take pictures of audiences. So let me get our musicians. I'm going to get our house right. We got FATV, all right, this side of the room. And then this side of the room, I'll print these out and put them in the Black Archive material that we're compiling at Fitchburg Historical Society. Before you go, be sure you take a look, because every Wednesday afternoon, we've got a really great group of folks from Three Pyramids, from the Abolitionist Park, from the Hospitality Network, but especially from Martin Luther King Coalition, who are researching the lives of Black residents in Fitchburg. 200 years ago, 20 years ago, 20 minutes ago, because of 50 years from now, if someone goes to the Fitchburg Historical Society and they say, "What was it like? What was it like?" There'll be newspaper articles and first-person narratives and the film that we're shooting today and the speeches that people are saying. It is really important to capture the stories. Without capturing the stories, we lose the past. I'm going to read something really brief because we're all ready for refreshment, I think. This is part of an article that I wrote for the Sentinel and Enterprise. I wrote a column called Family Recipe Box. If you've got a cool family recipe or story, come find me. Happy to talk to you because I want to represent our place, our region. So as we celebrate Martin Luther King, we should remember a line from the speech he gave when he won the Nobel Prize in 1964. He said, "I have the audacity to believe that people everywhere can have 3 meals a day for their bodies, education and culture for their minds, and dignity, equality, and freedom for their spirits." Now, recently I was at one of our schools, and I spoke to a friend who grew up in Alabama in the 1960s. He told me that during his school days, so when he was the age of all of you musicians and artists and singers, when he was your age, George Wallace was the governor, and he didn't like any black people. And my friend explained the differences between the schools for black people and white children and how radically different they were. So imagine this. He told me at my school there wasn't a bathroom, just an outhouse down a dirt path. He said, if you didn't bring a sandwich to school, the only lunch there was milk, and that's all you got for the whole day. That's within living memory. That's within many of our lifetimes. We have come a long way, and the understanding and acceptance that school lunch and breakfast must be provided for all children is now part of our culture. And by our culture, I mean Fitchburg, North Central Massachusetts. We pioneered. Those lunches must be provided. Now, I remember back to the 1980s, and perhaps some of you do as well. Do you remember when the Reagan administration slashed the funding for school lunch? The most cynical part of that legislative disaster was the claim that ketchup was a vegetable. Yep, that was how it was thought of. So think of that, ketchup is a vegetable. We'll give the kids that. That really happened. When I was elected to Fitchburg School Committee in 2007, the district still had free and reduced lunch for children in Fitchburg Public Schools. Now, quote, reduced lunch was for children whose families were low income, but not low enough to officially qualify for free lunch. Now, many of those children's families ended up running up bills they could not pay. So as you can imagine, the central office, the superintendent, and we have our superintendent, John Thompson, here today, very happy to see. Yeah, absolutely, yep. Yeah, John, you were with us when these discussions took place. So school committee, and of course, you know, the folks working for Sodexo, we had some really fraught meetings over this because folks who worked in the cafeteria were put in a terrible position. So their job was feeding kids, and they were put in a position of not feeding kids or letting kids go hungry or preventing a child from taking a lunch tray. I am really proud of my colleagues and the school department and the members of Sodexo Nutrition Service, Chef Dave Semenza, Jill Lucius, because they spoke up on behalf of the students. And we all agreed it was crucial that all children be treated with dignity and respect, regardless of their ability to pay for lunch. At lunchtime, every child should receive a lunch alongside their peers. Now, what happened next? 2008? Barack Obama was elected president. His administration immediately prioritized children and family health. Do you guys remember that? It was huge. And before long, the federal model of funding shifted so that lunch, and breakfast too, was now free for all children. I have had hundreds of conversations with teachers and staff through the years who continue to applaud this initiative. We all agree that a child who is hungry cannot learn. Dr. King understood that how essential nourishment is for mind and spirit equally. Thank you.
Amen. Let's give all of our officials a great big round of applause, because what that did was bring us into lunchtime. before we go and have lunch, which we are now, I would just like, and okay, let me see, it might not be in my program, but anyway. If all the MLK Coalition that's here, if you could raise your hand, stand, jump, shout, whatever you want to do, let's see you. Let's see you. Let's see you. Let us see you. When you see us and all of them, everyone here, you see justice, you see equality, you see the work of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And our president. Linda has been president for all these 26 years that I know that we're talking about. So let's give her a hand of applause. This is the 26th year that the MLK breakfast has taken place. So Linda, thank you, and thank you to all of the Montachusett Martin Luther King Coalition and everyone that's here. This is the Fitchburg High School Band and Chorus.
Our keynote speaker today is Mrs. Leona Wetzel. She is the Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer at Making Opportunity Count, which is MOC, where she leads transformative initiatives to advance impactful diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging within the organization. She also serves as president of the Three Pyramids Board of Directors and the North Central Massachusetts Minority Coalition. With a lifelong passion for helping others, Mrs. Wetzel has dedicated years to organizing, activism, and championing social, cultural, and racial equity and economic justice in her community. She serves on numerous boards and coalitions at local, regional, and state levels, fostering collaboration to drive meaningful change. A graduate of Burdett College, Mrs. Wetzel holds diversity and inclusion and psychology leadership certifications from Cornell University. She has been recognized as a 2018 Unsung Heroine by the Massachusetts Commission on the Status of Women and as a 2014 Salute to Women of North Central Massachusetts honoree. Mrs. Wetzel has been a resident of Fitchburg for over 40 years with her husband, 3 daughters, and grandson. She is an active member of the Beautiful Gate Church of God in Christ, where she serves as superintendent of Sunday school. Please warmly welcome Mrs. Leona Wetzel.
Thank you, Linda. Whew, beautiful music from everyone, awesome songs, beautiful spoken word and poem, and awesome food. So I just want to thank everyone for being here today. Good afternoon, everyone. It's truly an honor to stand before you all on this awesome occasion as we come together to celebrate the life, legacy, and vision of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. I want to express my deepest gratitude to the Montachusett Martin Luther King Coalition for inviting me here today and for their unwavering dedication for keeping Dr. King's dream alive in our hearts and in our communities. Special thank you to Linda Mason, the president. I found out she's one of the original founders of the coalition. So 26 years of commitment is truly outstanding. So I just really commend the coalition for keeping this going so we have a place here in our city to come and celebrate. So I just want to start off by saying, Bernie, he said, Leona, can you give us 10 minutes? I'm like, 10 minutes, Bernie? I'll give you 5 minutes. He goes, 10 minutes. So I have to listen to Bernie. But after researching and, just researching Martin Luther King, he did so much in his short time here on this earth. He did so much work. So honestly, I can do 10 minutes. I could do a lot more, but I'm going to stick to the plan. But I want to remind us that Dr. Martin Luther King, he did leave this earth too soon at the young age of 39. And if he were still here with us, he would be 96 years old today. And yet many of the challenges he courageously confronted, racism and inequity, violence and division, remain with us today. So I'll be speaking about that today. So again, Dr. King was a beacon of hope, a relentless advocate for justice, and a visionary who dared to dream of a world where all people could live in equality and harmony and shared humanity. While his dream inspired life-changing progress, it remains a work in progress. It is our collective responsibility to pick up his torch and carry it forward into the future. Dr. King once said, "The arc of the moral universe is long, but bends toward justice." Today, as we celebrate his extraordinary achievements, we are reminded that the work of bending that arc is not finished. It requires each of us to remain awake, vigilant, and committed to justice, just as Dr. King challenged us to be. As we reflect on Dr. King's vision, I ask us, how can we remain awake in 2025 in a world that still wrestles with many of the challenges that Dr. King confronted? How do we carry forward his dream in our time? I also ask us, what does it mean to honor Dr. King's legacy in this ever-changing landscape? How do we ensure his dream of justice, equity, and inclusion continues to light our path forward? So the theme for today's event, diversity, equity, and inclusion despite the changing landscape, could not be more fitting. In a world that is constantly evolving, facing new challenges and opportunities, DEI is not just a concept, it's a movement. It's a promise to build a society where everyone belongs, where opportunities are equitable, and where diversity is embraced and celebrated as one of our greatest strengths. But the landscape has changed. The world we live in today is clearly different from the one Dr. King envisioned. Rapid social, high-tech, cultural transformations have reshaped our society. While we have made undeniable progress, because we have, persistent injustices, racism, inequality, and division remind us that the fight for equity and equality and justice remind us that the fight for equity and justice is far from over. Whether it's addressing systemic racism, economic inequality, or the disparities in healthcare, education, housing, law enforcement, the call to action is as loud today as it was in Dr. King's time. So again, I ask us why DEI is more critical than ever. We live in a time of immense change and challenge, social polarization, economic inequality, and racial injustice continue to create divides. These challenges threaten the very fabric of our communities and demand a proactive response. The COVID-19 pandemic has exposed and exacerbated these inequities, particularly in healthcare, education, and employment. DEI provides a framework for addressing systemic issues and fostering equitable institutions. Despite the progress we've made, today's challenges remind us why the work of DEI remains critical. As we navigate a rapidly changing world, we face urgent issues that threaten to unravel the very fabrics of our communities. I mentioned social polarization. The rise of divisive rhetoric deepens societal fractures, making inclusion critical. Economic inequality, wealth gaps continue to grow, disproportionately affecting marginalized groups. Without equal opportunities in education, employment, and housing, these disparities will only worsen. Racial and cultural inequities, systemic racism, and exclusion demand action to ensure equity. I ask us again, why is it important to teach DEI in schools? We will have a panel shortly, I'm excited, where we'll delve deeper into this topic. But I'd like to take just a quick moment to emphasize its significance. One of the most powerful ways to honor Dr. King's legacy is embedding DEI into education. Teaching DEI equips young people to challenge injustice, embrace differences, and foster empathy. Schools shape societal values, preparing students to address systemic inequities, combat discrimination, and build inclusive communities. Learning about leaders like Dr. King inspires students to become change makers, while teaching history holistically highlights the struggles and achievements of marginalized communities. From early education to graduate studies, integrating DEI fosters critical thinking, empathy, and action, empowering individuals to navigate diversity and dream meaningful change, and drive meaningful change. Dr. King believed education was key to justice. Embedding DEI in schools ensures his vision endures, preparing future leaders to uphold equity, compassion, and progress. King's vision reminds us that the arc of the moral universe bends toward justice, but it requires intentional effort. DEI provides the tools and framework to make this effort effective, ensuring that no one No one is left behind in our pursuit of equity and inclusion. In addition, we are witnessing a troubling pushback against DEI initiatives in many sectors across the country. The current political climate has seen attempts to delegitimize and defund DEI efforts, framing them as divisive or unnecessary. This backlash ignores the proven benefits of DEI, not just for marginalized communities, but for society as a whole. When institutions fail to prioritize equity, they perpetuate inequality and miss opportunities for growth and innovation. Dr. King's vision reminds us that justice and inclusion are not optional. They are the foundation of thriving, equitable society. Dr. King's words, we've heard it earlier, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, reminds us that equity and inclusion are essential. I want to just take a pause really quick and thank Emily McCrae and the North Central Mass Faith-Based Coalition for the work they do every day, well, every week, feeding those in need. Because Dr. King's commitment to equity also extended to addressing poverty, an issue he recognized as deeply intertwined with racial and social justice. In his later years, he launched the Poor People's Campaign in 1968, a movement to demand economic justice for all. Dr. King understood that poverty knows no racial or cultural bounds, and he fought tireless to bring attention to the structural inequalities that keep people trapped in cycles of deprivation. He believed that true equality could not be achieved without addressing the economic disparities that marginalize so many. This work underscores the urgent need for policies that uplift those in poverty, ensuring access to housing, healthcare, education, and jobs. Dr. King, in his 1965 Oberlin College speech, Remaining Awake Through a Revelation, reminded us that time is always right to do what is right. He championed nonviolent resistance and called for the end of racial, gender, sexual, and economic injustice. King also urged the rejection of violence, hatred, and war, inspiring us to build a just and peaceful society. Dr. King's speech, Remain Awake Through a Revolution, remains profoundly relevant today in 2025 as society continues to confront the same core issues of justice, equality, and interconnectedness. Staying awake is more crucial than ever. Dr. Martin Luther King envisioned a world where justice rolled down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. He fought for a future where the content of one's character, not the color of one's skin, define opportunity and belonging. Today, as we gather to honor his legacy, it is clear that the dream he so passionately shared with us remains unfilled but alive, a guiding light for our efforts in diversity, equity, and inclusion. Together, let us reflect on how Dr. King's dream continues to call us, not only to reflection, but to action. Because his dream is not just a vision for the future, it is a mandate for how we must live, lead, and show up today. The work of DEI is not confined to a single office or initiative. It is a shared responsibility. Leaders must lead with courage and conviction, and individuals must hold themselves and their institutions accountable. I challenge each of us to reflect deeply on our role in advancing equity and inclusion. How can we make our workplaces, our communities, and our institutions more inclusive? How can we use our platforms to amplify voices that too often go unheard? Dr. King's dream calls us not to envision change, but to actively create it. As I close, let us reflect on Dr. King's enduring words. Again, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. Yet, this arc does not bend on its own. It bends through the tireless efforts of organizations and coalitions like the Montachusett MLK Coalition, the North Central Mass Faith-Based Coalition, the North Central Mass Minority Coalition, Three Pyramids, and many others doing this work. And through individuals like you, people who stand for justice, lead with compassion, and refuse to accept anything less than equity for all. So today, let us recommit ourselves to building a society where diversity is our strength, equity is our foundation, and inclusion is our shared practice. Together, we can ensure Dr. King's dream is not just remembered, but realized. And together, y'all, we can build a future where justice, equity, and opportunity are not privileges, but rights enjoyed for all. Again, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. We have a panel for everyone as I share a little bit of my speech. So I'm going to ask the panelists to come up, and then I'm going to introduce them. We're really excited about our panelists. Before we begin our questions and discussions, I'd like to introduce the exceptional individuals on our DI panel. We're joined by 2 college presidents bringing leadership experience and a strategic vision for integrating DI at institutional levels, 2 community members actively involved in grassroots DEI work, advocating for equity and inclusion within their local communities, and 2 students, actually 1 community member, I apologize, she couldn't make it, 2 student leaders, 1 from a university and 1 from a high school, who are making a significant impact by championing DEI initiatives within their schools. Together, this panel represents a diverse cross-section of expertise, advocacy, and lived experiences, all dedicated to advancing diversity, equity, and inclusion in meaningful ways. So I get to introduce each one, no certain order. Well, you know what? We'll start with going this way. Dr. James Vanderhoeven has been committed to access and opportunity in higher education throughout his professional career. After a few years of secondary education, teaching, and administration, Dr. Vanderhoeven found his true calling when he stepped into a non-traditional college classroom. And as the instructor, found that he was the youngest person in the room. From that evening on, he has focused his energy and time on increasing opportunities for students of all ages and background to achieve their academic, professional, and personal goals. In his role as the 3rd president at Montachusett Community College, Dr. Vanderhoeven has taken his student-centered approach and applied it to everything he touches. He approaches his role as a college leader with a unique student focus. Dr. Vanderhoeven. Awesome. Okay. Next we have Sarah Lena Georges, is a junior at Fitchburg High School, a dedicated member of the Black Student Union, and an active participant in the Curly Hair Care Club. She's also a co-founder of the Roots and Benches initiative that's focused on improving our landscape ecologically. She has played a pivotal role in fostering meaningful connections and community growth by encouraging discussion among her peers on diversity and discrimination. Sarah Lena is a deeply committed student. Her unwavering commitment to improving not only herself, but those around her, has left an impact that makes her a true force for a positive future. Welcome. Next we have Angel Goss, is the owner and principal consultant of Open Leaf Consulting, where she partners with organizations to cultivate inclusive spaces and practices that amplify the voices of the people they serve. These practices create an ecosystem of shared accountability, foster an equitable mindset that encourages full participation from all stakeholders. In addition, Angel serves as faculty at local colleges, offering instruction and workshops to students, educators, and the broader community. Her work ensures that more diverse voices are represented at the table. Angel is a member of the Montachusett MLK Coalition and serves on the boards of United Way Central Mass and Worcester Cultural Academy. Welcome, Angel. Next, we have Dr. Donna Hodges, is the 12th president of Fitchburg State University and the first woman to hold the post. She brings over 2 decades of experience in higher education, leadership, strategy, and operations. Before joining Fitchburg State, Dr. Hodge was the Vice President of Operations and Advancement at Colorado State University, Pueblo, a public university serving 4,000 students, many from minoritized and low-income backgrounds. At CSU Pueblo, she oversaw all facilities, auxiliary enterprises, marketing, communications, HSI grants, and advancement functions, managing budgets exceeding $100 million and a cross-functional team of over 140 people. She is committed to creating opportunities and solutions for underrepresented communities, for which her team was recognized by the American Association of State Colleges and Universities with the 2021 Excellence in Innovation Award. She holds a PhD in rhetoric, master's degrees in English and Women's Studies, and executive certificates from MIT and Harvard's Graduate School of Education. Dr. Hodge is a member of the Board of Trustees at the Fitchburg Art Museum and a member of the Presidents for Latino Student Success Network, part of Excelencia in Education. Welcome, Dr. Hodge. And we have Selma Marti of Worcester. Is a senior at Fitchburg State University with a public health major and a minor in business administration. She is the president of the university's African Student Association, vice president of the Caribbean Student Association, student government senator, and dance club member. Welcome. Okay. All right, I have the pleasure of moderating this panel of these awesome panelists. I'm going to just jump right in because I'm told we have a few minutes, 35 minutes or so. I'm going to start with our 2 university presidents, and this question is for both of you. What role does higher education play in maintaining the importance of DEI during times of societal or political change? And let me know if you need me to repeat that.
And Jill decided that I guess I'm going first? No? Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. It's awesome to be here, and I need to go off script just for a moment before I answer your question. And I don't know where Theo disappeared to, our musician right over here. Theo, you are a role model. He has been a role model at the Mount for youth, and I'm so excited to know that his role modeling experience is now expanding to fatherhood, and so congratulations, Theo. It's just awesome. We had in the early days of COVID, we had a Zoom meeting set up, and he was on the screen, and I could see in the background a piano, and I said, well, you're not getting off this meeting with like 30 people unless you play, and he turned around and played. It was amazing. So anyway. This work is absolutely vital and central to the core mission of Montachusett Community College and for North Central Massachusetts. So much so that we've actually made it the #1 priority in our strategic plan. And all we have to do is look at our data. I don't need to make anything political. I don't need to make anything even financial. I don't even need to I can very simply say, let's take a look at our data, and let's take a look at our student outcomes, and let's make sure that our resources are going towards serving the students who need our support the most. And while we've made great steps towards that, just dealing with it on an individual, one student at a time approach is inadequate, because what we really have to do is interrogate and change our systemic approach to education. We have to look at our systems, how they've been designed, how they're implemented, to make sure that we are serving our students in an equitable fashion. So that has been the core of what we've been trying to do over the last couple of years. It certainly will remain the highest priority of our strategic approach, regardless of the political environment that we're in. And I hope that it will continue to show positive dividends in our student outcomes. So,
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I want to address the very core of your question, like what is our responsibility? What part does higher ed have to play in the much, much bigger work of DEI? And it's pretty simple, right? We are part of a very complicated ecosystem creating the next workforce, the next voting citizens who will live in Fitchburg and North Central Massachusetts. And we have an obligation to make sure that they make decisions, they go into their workplace being as aware of the changing landscape of our world as they possibly can be. And I would just say, while we've had the pleasure of sitting here for the last hour or two, there are new changes happening, new threats, new challenges in our world literally while we sit here. So in a changing political landscape, like it's changing today. It's changed in the last 3 hours. That I do not forget that. That is an incredibly heavy burden. So weaving those, you said it so beautifully, Leona, it's diversity should be the thing that we are so proud of, that we honor every single day. Equity is our mission, but being innovative has to be how we put it all into practice. That means recognizing the ecosystem we live in. It means partnering with our city. It means partnering with Fitchburg Public Schools. It means finding all those amazing partners across North Central Massachusetts, Montachusett, right? To make sure that we are all working together for a common purpose. And our common purpose isn't to forward any kind of political agenda. In fact, I have a very particular personal, professional philosophy that higher ed, our goal is not to be a political voice. In fact, we have to straddle a line all the time, because to ensure that we can do the work that we're charged with doing, we have to be able to talk to all sides of the political spectrum, whatever that spectrum happens to look like. But what that means is that before those big changes happen, we have to advocate for the importance of the work that we do. And we have to advocate for having diverse voices at that table to speak for the student experience, to speak for a community experience. There is nothing more important and nothing that we take more seriously at Fitchburg State. I'm a native Texan. I had the pleasure of being in Colorado for the last almost 20 years. And those are states where the landscape is slightly different than Massachusetts. And I just have to say, one of the first big decisions that I made is that we needed an executive director of diversity, equity, and inclusion on the campus, because we needed another expert, someone else who could make sure that we're thinking about all of the big issues to ensure that all the voices are at the table. Because it's not as simple as just opening the door and hoping all of the different voices and people show up. It's being intentional and going out and inviting people to be part of the conversation. And in fact, if you have an open door policy, the reality is the bold people who already feel like they have a voice will be the first ones who walk in the door. So how do you ensure all of the other people feel like they can? And that's true for higher education in general, too. You can't just say, our doors are open to everyone. You can all come to our campus, and if you have the desire, and if you have the determination and a little bit of the willingness, you can earn a degree. It's not that simple. We have to go to where they are. So we're working very carefully at Fitchburg State to ensure that we have someone who is holding us accountable to that work, to make sure that we are not just saying that the partnerships matter, but showing up where those people are. So for us, it is partnering with Fitchburg Public Schools. It's making sure that we are thinking about first the community we serve and then reaching a little bit further. It's Jim, it's the two of us talking about the students that he's serving and making sure that the ones who want to have a pathway to Fitchburg State. And we have to do it right now before anything else changes, right? When the door is open, you got to start walking through. So.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I have another question I'm going to ask both of our presidents, and then we'll move down to our another panelist. So what message, this is for both presidents, what message would you give to students and faculty about the importance of staying committed to DEI, even when progress feels slow or difficult?
Progress is always slow and difficult. Incremental change is where we see most of the biggest wins, which means that you have to be incredibly patient. And I'll speak as a very impatient person. When I see, what something can be, I want it to be that today. And that stops a lot of people from the big, hard work. So I think remembering to celebrate the small wins, my husband and I were just talking about this the other day, that the hope that I have for our campus is to remind our students, but to remind every single employee to have a sense of urgency. Because there is a sense of urgency that I think we all should feel in this moment. And 100 years ago, maybe we should have felt it then, and 100 years before that, and 100 years from today, but that you have to pair that with a sense of joy. That if you only feel urgent, that you can wind up feeling hopeless. And that if you don't stop and have some joy, the work that you do isn't purposeful. It isn't as meaningful. So I don't know. I try really hard to have a lot of joy in what I do because I feel joyful about it. It's an incredible privilege to do the work that I do. I was a first-generation college student. No, I didn't know anybody that had gone to college. That was like fancy people stuff. And I'm reminded constantly, I have two younger siblings. They both finished college before I did. So I went off to college first, but just like every one of our students today, I had some bumps along the way. Those bumps get bigger depending on who you are and what your background is and where you come from and your lived experience. So it's on all of us to remember there is a sense of urgency, but you have to stop and celebrate the wins because it is incremental change. And if you don't have that sense of joy, you'll just feel panic. And panic doesn't ever move anything forward. Joy does. Hope does. And how do you do that? Sense of urgency and joy together, and you just keep moving forward, one step at a time. We are better off at the end of today than we were yesterday, and I believe that.
Thank you. Thank you. As she's passing it down, thank you to remind us to celebrate those small wins. It's important, and have a sense of urgency with joy. Thank you for sharing that.
I don't know that I have a whole lot to add to your response. I mean, I think that I'll give you one example that is actually, I think, going to support what you mentioned. And I've found, especially when you're really trying to roll these new programs out or new approaches or new concepts, frankly, that when you meet with one department, that department's initial reaction is, well, he's definitely talking about that department over there because we're already doing this. We're already doing a good job of, there's this, it isn't our department everyone else needs to change what they're doing because what we're doing is great. And then you meet with that department over there and they say, well, they're clearly talking about that department. I recently found out that our business office staff, the folks who, write the checks, do the accounting, do all of that together, they all selected a book to read together, and they read the book, and they talked about it, and they actually carved time out of schedules that were already overwhelming, already, approaching, if not gone way past burnout, because they're actually now starting to take a deep look at the systems of how they do things around diversity, equity, and inclusion in the business office. So these are folks who are not student-facing, some of them never meet with students. It's just not part of their job. Yet, they have taken that initial step to say, yes, we are a part of this, and yes, what we do does, at the end, impact our students' experience, our community's experience. And so that I think it kind of supports what you were talking about, is to say we are all at this table right now. We all need to talk about how we can change our systems for the better.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. And I really like the example you shared about your business department, you know, taking that initiative on themselves and just really seeing how DEI and how they can make an impact as well. Thank you. So we're going to pass down to our college student at the end, Selma Marty. Question for you. Thank you both, presidents. I'll come back to you in a minute. So how do you maintain your commitment to DEI work amidst academic and social pressures?
So for me, I am the oldest daughter, so going to college is it wasn't the easiest thing. I just try to make sure that while I'm in college, I just try to make sure that I make a place comfortable for other people. Because when I was a freshman, that was right when COVID kind of was still in process, but we were able to go and live on campus. But the ASA didn't exist. BSU was fading away because, you know, nobody was on campus. So it was very uncomfortable to be the first child out of the house. And now I have to go and be in a whole new environment. I didn't know how to adjust. So I had to make the best out of my situation and make sure that all those groups came back to light. So that's what makes it worth a while for me.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Can I tell a Selma story real fast?
Yes,
So just as a quick example of half the work is showing up. So I think I was on week 2 or 3 in my job, drinking from a fire hose, trying to meet 1,000 people. And I get this just lovely email from a student who introduces herself in the most professional way and says, I'd like to meet you. I've read about you, and I'd just like to meet you in real life. And I emailed back, and I was like, when? Do you want to come now? Like, do you want to come today? Because it was summer, and there weren't as many students on campus. And she showed up dressed like she was ready to run the institution. And I'm going to tell you, we're going to check back on Selma in a couple of years, and she will be running an institution. This is because that's how you do it. And on day 1, she was advocating for our students, all students, but students that she felt connected to and who she cared about. And I walked into my office knowing that. That was, to me, that was very impressive. Thank you. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that story. Thank you. So I have one more question for Selma, and then we'll pass it down. And Selma, you know, putting others, you know, first is huge, because you said you're trying to get comfortable, but you also want to make a place for others to feel comfortable. So thank you for that. What role do students play in ensuring the DEI remains a priority on campus and beyond?
So for this question, I just feel like all students have to use their voice. Obviously, as an institution, the school is very big. Everybody has their concerns and their issues, but we can't fix anything if nobody knows what the problems are. So like I said, like I came to school, I didn't know what to join, what to do. And the second I actually started like speaking up for myself and saying, hey, I need this, I want this, I hate this, like the second I actually opened my mouth, I was able to get the changes that I needed and like actually like feel comfortable just because I used the voice that I have. If I never opened my mouth, like I would not even be sitting here. I'd probably be in my dorm like, oh my gosh, 4 years have gone by and like I didn't get anything out of this experience except for a degree. Yes, I'm going to school for a degree, but it's also about the experiences that you gained and the networking experience, like networking connections that you gained as well. So I just feel like the voice that, you know, we all have is the most important thing.
Awesome, thank you. Keep amplifying your voice. Thank you. All right, thank you. Sarah Lena. So, question for you. How do you see the importance of diversity and inclusion being addressed in your school, and what more do you think can be done?
Well, the first thing that kind of pops into my mind is the Black Student Union. For me, I moved into the school in like my sophomore year, and when I first went to the Black Student Union meeting, it was it was a place where I felt seen. It was automatic, like we were talking about how we felt about the inclusivity and diversity in our school, and I actually felt heard. I think that's one of the most important parts that we're doing in our school. And another thing is that as the years go by, I actually see more students, as she said, using their voice. And I think that's the most important thing we can do, because as you said, education, diversity in education is the way to the future. Because when we're installing these values in our children and in our students, they grow up and then they make a society where they can actually feel that value being portrayed in the way that they want. And I think that's the way things should be.
Awesome, thank you. Wow. Awesome, now I see why you're so involved, and because your voice does matter, and being seen and heard, that's valuable. So I have a second question for you. What inspires you to continue advocating your voice and amplifying your voice for equity and inclusion, even when it feels like the landscape is changing negatively?
That's the thing. I think, yes, of course, it's important to have our voices heard and diversity being explored by multiple different people. But also, I think what motivates me more is knowing that the job is not done. The job, sure, it might seem like we've come a long way since, Martin Luther King, but the job is still not done, and we're not going to rest until the job is actually done. Though, in my opinion, the job is not done until every little girl of color doesn't question, the texture of her hair or the color of her skin. I think the job is not done until we don't feel like we have to change ourselves to fit a standard that society gives us. So.
Wow. Thank you. What motivates her more? Knowing that the job is still not done. And she says she won't rest. Amazing. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you. We're going to move down to Angel. Probably have a question or two left before it's over for our students. Angel, from your perspective, how has the importance of DEI evolved within our community over time?
Well, I think that that we're all here today, right? While there's another event happening, you can see that people understand the importance of DEI. And I would say, as has been mentioned before, that DEI is not a word, it's an acronym, and to think about each of those letters separately, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and as has been spoken by both the students and the presidents here, how important that is for the community to really embrace that. And as we can see, I teach at both of those colleges, Fitchburg State and Montachusett, and it's so great to be able to have those conversations within the classrooms, both at Fitchburg High, at Montachusett Community College, for Fitchburg State. We're hearing more and more people have a sense of ease in that conversation, being able to normalize that, be able to recognize where it's difficult to have those conversations, and even for people who typically might shy away from those conversations, being welcomed at the table, as you said before, because that's the way to build inclusion. It's not everyone who has this idea is invited to the table, it's everyone is invited to the table, so we can all have these conversations, even where there's conflicts, even where there's tension. I think that's really important for us to be able to have that. If you come to the table thinking only one side is important, you're less likely to participate, you're less likely to show your voice, and we really need those shared voices, those shared and conflicting opinions to be able to have DEI, and then to continue it both in the community and in our classrooms.
Thank you, Angel. So, Angel, all the work that you do is so important, and you talk about bringing folks to the table. What strategies do you think are most effective for engaging those who are skeptical or resistant to DEI efforts?
Well, I think what I referenced before is being sure that there's a concept of holding space, And holding space means you're holding space for both sides of the table. You're holding space for everyone to participate. And to be able to have those conversations where there's compassion, where there's empathy, even for things that you think, I could never, ever, ever agree with this person, to realize the humanity of that person makes a huge difference in seeing that often we have the same concerns. There's a concern for love, for protection, for equality, for safety, for compassion, right? All of those things are very similar. And for me, my faith guides me in how I'm able to have some of those conversations, because I've been in places where I am one of the only people of color, and I'm leading something that can be really difficult for people to have that conversation. And if I don't welcome that criticism and that judgment, I can shut people down, and that's never my goal, right? I want this to be a place where more people can have conversations. So I think to be able to hold space so that people can do it, and to your point before, even to invite those things where you can say, how many of you feel like this is a waste of time? How many of you feel like this is something that you don't want to do? So for those people who are sitting maybe already prepared, to invite them into the conversation, I think is really important, so that they can walk away feeling like you've said before, and the students here, that their voices are heard no matter who they are.
Awesome. Thank you, Angel. Sharing those strategies and best practices, it is so important, making people feel comfortable. So I appreciate it. I think we have time to, one more question for everyone, okay? So we'll start with with our two presidents. How does your, and you spoke to this a little bit, but if you want to just, elaborate a little bit more, because this is the times that we're in, right? How does your university ensure that DEI efforts remain a priority despite challenges, despite pushback, despite our political climate? How do you ensure that DEI efforts remain? You want to go first, Dr. Hodge? I know you spoke to this a little bit, but if you want to elaborate any more.
Well, I do think money is important, and I will just say this. Hiring our executive director of DEI was a specific decision that I made, but it required an allocation, right? Like, we had to actually have a conversation and explain why that was money that was important to spend. But I really do believe that part of the core of higher education is to challenge people's beliefs, and that you never really know what you believe until someone questions those beliefs. And the second that you have to stand up and fight for what you believe in, then that is core to who you are. Higher ed is a way we have to do that for young people. It's the way we have to do that for so many new adult learners today, for people who are going back into a workforce that might look very different than it did when they first began. So I think it's really important. As a leader, one of the things I think about all the time, one of the early bits of advice I got as a new university leader was to make sure that everybody in the room wasn't agreeing with you. Because if everyone at the table is nodding when you're speaking, you are in the wrong room. So making sure that you do have those diverse voices, because I need those to challenge me. One, just so I'm forced to be accountable for the things that I believe in. But two, because there's a chance to sway that other person, right, to a different way of thinking, and that's really, really important. So I do think it is dedicating resources, and we are at a moment in time where dedicating resources to what I think once upon a time seemed like very simple things is very, very important. And it is a moment in time to do that, because what comes next is a little bit unknown. And I'm hopeful. You heard from two amazing students. If you don't feel hopeful listening to young people today, then you just might not be hopeful at any table. But it's what drives me, and I think it's what drives the vast majority of our people at Fitchburg State and the people in this community. So I think it's remembering and reminding ourselves that the fabric of Fitchburg and of Fitchburg State has always been honoring and celebrating diversity. It's always been equity-minded. That doesn't mean that we've always done it right, but interrogating those things, the way we enact equity and the ways that we innovate around those needs are very, very important. And it's constant. It is. I'm a writing teacher, so we used to always say writing is never done. It is simply due. And I guess I'd simply say DEI is never done. It is simply due. And I think there is a fair amount of that that's due today. So those of us who are part of the coalition of the willing to listen, willing to learn, willing to step up and stand for the things that we believe in or to challenge ourselves and our beliefs, will be the ones making the difference, I think, for this community and for the next generation of citizens.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your leadership and your efforts. And as President Van der Hooven reminded me, we're going to move quick because we're losing some of our students, so we're going to try and go quick. You mentioned, you share with us that your focus, right, and your energy and your time, is just really focusing on, student focus. And you've been doing this work for a while, Montachusett. So, what role does leadership play? I'm giving you a quick question. In fostering an inclusive campus culture, and what challenges have you faced in this process, if any?
If any. Sorry. Yes, lots of challenges, but make it systemic. Look at your systems. That to me has been probably the most effective way to address any of the inequities that we have within our system of higher ed at the Mount. Look at your processes, your policies, all of those things, because then those will lead to the student experience. So really looking at the systemic approach.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you. Systemic approach. Just remember that. Quick question for Sarah Lena Georges. What advice would you give to adults or leaders about how to better support young people in their DI efforts?
Well, I think in our society today, yes, more young people's voices are being more heard, but in my opinion, it's never enough. And one of the most simple things you can do is just ask their opinion, because adults teach them the values that they need, but now you have to trust them to know what to do with those values. And the opportunity to voice their opinion most of the time has to be given by the adults, because they're the one that can most likely do something about it. So the most easiest thing you can do is just ask a question. What do you think? What do you think we should do? And even if you don't agree or if there's a problem with that, tell them the problem so they can learn from it and they can do better next time.
Thank you so much. Very wise words. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. You all heard it. We're going to pass it down really quick to Selma Marti. One last question. Can you share a moment when your advocacy for DEI had a meaningful impact, either on campus or in the broader community?
Yes. So last year, Fitchburg State had a town hall, and at that town hall, I like to say that's where all the big dogs were at. That day, they were asking the students questions and their opinions, and they were talking about all the changes that they're doing on the school campus, and all our concerns they're trying to tell us that all our concerns are heard and that they're taking care of it. But at that moment, it was we can see all the students that aren't using their voices are getting frustrated, because you're telling us that, we have a shuttle, we have this, we have that, but it's are you, as a working professional, actually taking the time to utilize these resources that you're telling us to use? So at that moment, I feel it was very important for me to ask them questions. It was kind of oh wow, I wasn't expected to get interrogated today, but it's kind of okay, if you're doing the work, are you actually putting your are you putting yourself in the student's shoes? Because if not, then your work is kind of in vain, because it's kind of you're building a product, you're not trying it out. So if that's the case, then you're not really going to see any progress. So I feel that day was very meaningful to me, because I feel that's when everybody actually started putting themselves in students' shoes and trying the things that students are doing on a day-to-day basis, so they can actually get more of a meaningful experience with their positions on campus.
Wow, thank you so much. Again, very wise words. Thank you so much. And Angel, quick last question for you. Sure. What can communities do to maintain a commitment to equity and inclusion, even as societal attitudes or policies shift?
I think one thing we can do is think about, it shouldn't be compartmentalized, right? We can be here and hear all of this and think, well, this is great. This is great. It's great to see the students, look at the youth, look at what they're doing, and we can forget that we are still growing. There are so many adults I talk to who don't have the mindset that these young people do. And back to what you said earlier, we are the adults that are still shaping and informing the kids. If we haven't changed our viewpoints, if we're not having these conversations, if we still have these fears and teach these fears, it's very conflicting for the students to be role models for us. Right? Sometimes we need that humility, but if we keep it confined to a training, to an event, and we don't have it at our kitchen tables, we don't have it with our neighbors, we continue to have the fear and all of the reasons that hold us back, we will not be the support that these young people need. We will not be the changes that they need to see. They need to see us being just as brave as they are and the work that they're doing. We need to be working beside each other, wherever we're from, to support the work that needs to be done. We can't compartmentalize it. It's not someone else's job. I just want to go right back to what Dr. Vanderhoeven said earlier. I don't know if I just gave you a promotion, but yeah. So I wanted to say something that you said earlier about your finance team, right? Sometimes we can be in one role and say, well, it's not for me, right? It's for the people who see the students, or it's for the people who see the community. When you look at the systems and things like that and you realize, oh, I'm doing a lot of finances, but there's no people of color that are doing, there's no women, there's no people of different sexual orientations, there's no people of different ages. That's your work, that's your call. We don't need to wait until it's right at our doorstep. There are so many ways that we can do this work right now. It's great to hear that your finance department is seeing their role, because we all have a role and we don't need to wait. Go back to Nashi's poem, "The Time Is Now."
All right, thank you, Angel. Again, good advice. I just want to take this quick moment to sincerely thank our panelists for their time, insights, and thoughtful contribution to today's discussion. Your expertise and willingness to share your experiences have deepened our understanding of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and inspired us to continue this important work. We are so grateful for the energy and the passion you have all brought to the conversation, and I know I speak for everyone here when I say it's been a privilege to learn from each of you. Thank you once again for being here and for everything you do to advance diversity and equity in your work, in your schools, the young people, or whatever space you're in our communities and beyond. So again, thank you to our panelists. All right.
We have 3 students that's going to tell us, what does MLK Day mean to you? So if they would come up, please, Brighton, Blessing, and Bethany.
Hi, everybody. My name is Blessing Yule, and as a person of color in today's society, MLK holds a deep significance. Dr. King's work and vision of justice, equality, and nonviolent resistance resonate not only with me, but with the wider African Americans and immigrant communities, oppressed and marginalized, joined in union. Dr. King's legacy serves as a reminder of the importance of fighting for inclusivity, justice, and the right to be treated with fairness and respect, regardless of the background. His dream of a world where people are judged by the contents of their character rather than the color of their skin or their national origin continues to inspire movements for social justice and equality worldwide. It's a day to honor the work of those who have fought for civil rights and continue to challenge systems of oppression. It's also a time for action to not only remember Dr. King's achievements, but to renew our commitment to creating a society where everyone has access to opportunity and fair treatment. The day encourages us to engage in service, self-reflection, and continued advocacy for those still fighting for equality in all forms, whether in the realm of racial justice, economic equity, or immigrant rights. MLK Day serves as both a celebration of progress and a call to keep pushing toward the world Dr. King dreamed of. And that's what MLK Day means to me.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would first like to take this opportunity to thank the Mayor, City Council, the Minority Coalition, Fitchburg Public Schools, the Senior Center, and other local supporters, and most importantly, my family, for allowing me to be here today in front of all of you. When I think of what Dr. Martin Luther King means to me, I think of freedom. The freedom to pursue a complex academic career that ranges from the arts to sciences. The ability to pursue the social barriers and push the boundaries that were thought to limit the historically marginalized communities. And in so, I have learned that through these struggles, I have learned to push my higher power, the strength of which is supported by my family, and the growth of my support in these communities. Also, what Dr. Martin Luther King means to me is opportunity. Like Dr. Martin Luther King, I myself have encountered adversity, but it's because of his countless sacrifices I too rise. His legacy alone has allowed me to stand here before you today in such a diverse and beautiful crowd. To conclude, what Dr. Martin Luther King means to me is the future. Because of his life and legacy today, I am proud to say that I have the freedom to choose my future in such diverse settings, whether that be a clarinetist, violinist, surgeon, or psychiatrist. I leave you from this quote from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We must accept finite disappointment, but never lose infinite hope. End quote. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for inviting me. So to me, Martin Luther King Jr. Day is just a day of acknowledgement and service, and to continue practicing the practices that he shown us in the things that I do. So I'm part of so many organizations, so I make sure that students have a voice to be heard, that students know that they can accomplish anything that they can dream of, that they can do. And so using the practices and the studies and the way that he fought for equality is the same thing that I do in everything that I do. Thank you.
Thank you so much, oh wise ones. We have really appreciated our students here today and all the work that they do. El Presidente, the President, Linda Mason.
I'd just like to share some anniversaries this year, 25, in 2025, some of the civil rights anniversaries that we will be recognizing. And, I'd like you to think about this. Not everyone in the room, obviously, the young people excluded from this, but some of us were alive when some of these events were taking place. The civil rights movement was actually a period of time between, began in the late 1940s and it ended in the late 1960s. And so each year I think it's kind of important, as we know that it's important to remember Dr. King and the civil rights movement as a whole, but I think it's important to look at some of these significant events that happened and realize that they happened in our lifetime, some of our lifetimes. So I want to just go through a few of them. And as I do, I will tell you how many years ago, and you can think about it. Maybe you were alive then, and kind of get a perspective on the landscape of how far we've come or not. So 70 years ago, on August 28th, 1955, Emmett Till, which again, some of us were alive, but hopefully students are learning about this in school. I know when I was teaching before I retired, I used to teach about the story of Emmett Till. But anyway, Emmett Till, a 14-year-old from Chicago, was brutally murdered in Mississippi for allegedly flirting with a white woman. His murders were acquitted, and the case brought international attention to the civil rights movement after Jet magazine published a photo of Till's beaten body at his open casket funeral. Also the same year, 70 years ago again, December 1st, 1955, Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat to a white man on a Montgomery, Alabama bus. Her defiant stance prompted a year-long Montgomery bus boycott. 70 years ago, both of these events occurred. 65 years ago, February 1st, 1960, 4 African-American college students in Greensboro, North Carolina, refused to leave a Woolworth's whites-only lunch counter without being served. The Greensboro Four, Aziel Blair, David Richmond, Franklin McCain, and Joseph McNeil were inspired by the nonviolent protest of Gandhi. The Greensboro sit-in, as it came to be called, sparked similar sit-ins throughout the city and in other states. I was going to say there's quite a few sit-ins if you look back at that period of time, but this was one that kind of, as it said, sparked the movement. But again, 65 years ago. Also 65 years ago, November 14th, 6-year-old Ruby Bridges was escorted by 4 armed federal marshals as she became the first student to integrate William Franz Elementary School in New Orleans. Her actions inspired Norman Rockwell's painting, The Problem We All Live With. I have that hanging over my desk, and I look at that frequently. That was painted in 1964. Very compelling artwork. 65 years ago, these 2 events. Again, that was in my lifetime, so I'm sure that some of you present today, again, maybe you were not even aware of it at the time, because again, some of these events took place in different parts of the country. But nevertheless, racism was alive and well then, and discrimination, of course. 60 years ago, March 7th, 1965, Bloody Sunday. In the Selma to Montgomery March, around 600 civil rights marchers walked from Selma, Alabama to Montgomery, the state's capital, in protest of black voter suppression. Local police blocked and brutally attacked them. After successfully fighting in court for their right to march, Martin Luther King and other civil rights leaders led 2 more marches and finally reached Montgomery on March 25th. August 6th, 1965, 60 years ago, President Johnson signed the Voting Rights Act of 1965 to prevent the use of literacy tests as a voting requirement. It also allowed federal examiners to review voter qualifications, and federal observers to monitor police polling places. Okay, that was, again, 60 years ago. So I just wanted to share these because I think it's important that we realize in our lifetime, in some ways how far we come, but in other ways, that things are still in the works. And I think that has been brought out in a number of ways today. So I just want to say thank you and appreciate everyone's presence. Thank you for celebrating Martin Luther King Jr. with us. His legacy of advocating for equality, justice, and nonviolent resistance continues to inspire us to strive for a world where everyone is treated with dignity and respect. By honoring his life and work, we are reminded of the ongoing fight for civil rights and the importance of standing together to create positive change in our communities. Your participation in this celebration helps keep his vision alive, ensuring that his message of hope, unity, and compassion resonates for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you again. And yes, I did see Pastor Hughes come in, and he's going to close us out in prayer. Again, thank you from the Montachusett MLK Coalition. Thank you to the city of Fitchburg. Thank you to Ms. Leona Wetzel and all of our panelists. You know, we really had a great time, and it was very educational, and we are still here with you till the end. Reverend Hughes? Thank you, Miles. Miles has been here with us, and he's just been a fabulous host, so we just say thank you very much. And thank you, Reverend Sam, for making sure we had one of your bestest. We appreciate you. Thank you, Miles.
Thank you, Pastor. So I did arrive late. I was in Ohio on yesterday for a funeral of a family member, and we got caught in a storm, and all of the flights got canceled. And I looked at my wife, and she looked at me, and I said, I'm not staying here. So we ended up renting a car and driving all night from Ohio, because I wanted to make sure I was here today. So when I got home this morning, I went to sleep. And then I forgot I had the rental car, so I had to wake up and drive to Logan Airport to bring the rental car back. so it's been quite the weekend. But I wanted to say before I give the benediction, this work has to be intentional. It has to be a part of us, a commitment from everyone working together. It's hard to see a problem when you're in the midst of the problem. It's hard to know that something is happening when you're looking from the inside, not from the outside. And that's why when someone from the outside comes and bring attention to it, sometimes the first thing we do, we become defensive because we don't think that the problem exists because we're sitting in the midst of the problem. So I would say to all of us, let's be intentional about this work. Let's remain committed. So we get to a point where we don't have to have a special club or title to address an issue. Let's try and get to a point where, especially those of us that are in leadership, know once we get there, there's an issue. We don't need to create another position to address something that we should address, that we know needs to be addressed. Because otherwise it's just going to cost us money. We'll keep putting Band-Aids on situations and never address the real problem. Can we agree about that? All right. Second thing today is also a special day. I'm going to ask members of the Ford family if they would please stand. Adrian L. Ford was a type of person that when he saw these things happening, he would speak up on someone's behalf, and he would advocate for diversity, he would advocate for equity, and he would advocate for inclusion. He would put his life on the line, and history records in this city that some days was not pleasant for him, but that did not stop his efforts to ensure that he would bring attention to injustices, bring attention to lack of diversity, bring attention to health disparities and things like that. And so today, this project started in the previous administration. I want to acknowledge Councilor Marissa Fleming and former Mayor Jeff Bean. They worked hard along with myself and members of the City Council when I was on the City Council. Now, our current mayor, Mayor Squalier, was on the City Council when this petition was passed. And I would like to say, coming in the near future, on Day Street, Union and Day Street, it will be known as the Adrian L. Ford Square. The family is working with the DPW commissioner in terms of the designs that will happen. that will be placed on the corner. Actually, it will start, there will be one placed on the corner of Day and Blossom Street, one on the corner of Day and Day Street and Snow Street, and Day and Union, I believe. What's the other one? Yeah, Blossom, Day, and Snow. All right, and this is long overdue. I want to particularly, again, thank Councilor Marissa Fleming and former Mayor Jeff Bean, and certainly thank you to our current mayor, Mayor Samantha Squally. Come on, give it up for our mayor. Thank you so much for everyone for your work. It's long overdue, long overdue. And I want to say to you all, because you all gave him up to serve this community. Because you could have said, let's go. No, you're not doing that anymore. No, we're done. But you were there, and I want to say thank you. Thank you on behalf of all of us who stand on his shoulders here in the city of Fitchburg. Thank you. Now the blessing. The Lord bless thee and keep thee. The Lord make his face shine upon thee. The Lord grant you peace. And now, God, we pray that as we dismiss from this place, but never from your presence, I pray that you will keep the desire to serve in each and every one of our hearts. Help us as we move forward with the assignment. And now, God, I pray that you will dismiss us from this place, but never from your presence. Be with us, go with us, and keep us in the center of your will. Amen. Amen.